What's up, everybody, and welcome back. We were at RedBud this weekend.
Round 6 of the Pro Motocross Series, and we finally got some good racing right in it. Fall asleep.
Dude, it was so good. Can I get a RedBud?
RedBud!
Let's go. July 4th weekend. It was so much fun. Not only that, Ty, but I got to watch Monster Jam World Finals and Pro Motocross all in the same weekend. Big shout out to Blake Granger, the motocross quad family winning World Finals freestyles. That was pretty cool, but let's get right into it. What are we starting off with? Are we starting off with Jett spanking them once again, or Eli Tomac's bike blowing up in the first moto, detrimental to the series?
Bro, like, finally getting it together, finally getting some momentum going, and then are the Yamaha team, I'm lost for words right now because Yamaha has been having motor problems in the 250 and the 450 class. Like, are they pushing those motors to the limit? Like, is that what we're seeing? We're going to have to see like a little bit of detuning, or does everybody just need to do no clutch motos this week?
Well, I mean, we know that Haiden Deegan rides the piss out of that bike, and so does Eli Tomac.
And it seems like it's getting worse when they're in a battle with somebody.
Yes. But with that being said, we've had a lot of years of Eli Tomac, and not as much Haiden Deegan, but Eli Tomac and his bikes not blowing up. And if you have a guy in the fight for the championship, it's a hard situation because now you have to look at it. Now I want to see, will this happen again? Because, we're riding dirt bikes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something's going to blow up eventually.
I mean,
yes or no?
I mean, it shouldn't. We're on a factory squad. Like, if we're that on the limit, why aren't we changing our motor after practice?
Well, we are that on the limit for a reason. You know what I mean? Haiden Deegan and those Yamahas, everybody knows they have the best bike and the best motor. And the problem with that is you're dancing on that line.
Yeah, but the problem is that they're a factory team and they should have the data to make sure this shit doesn't happen. You're fighting for championships. They're lucky that Haiden Deegan is out in front and he can kind of have a little bit of wiggle room. Like, bro, that basically almost sealed the deal for the championship. I mean, this round and the next round and just confidence in general.
Yeah, Jett's a whole round ahead now.
Yeah.
And now
that's on his brother.
Yes, and Eli Tomac dropped to 4th after this weekend. Yeah, I mean,
they got to figure it out because they even changed all their motors on all their 450s.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think we'll see that happen again, though. Do you?
I mean, I don't know. They've been having problems all year. Why wouldn't it?
Eli Tomac, 34-7.
Yeah, what is going on?
Now, do you think that is because the lack of confidence in the motor that he went 7 in the second moto? Or do you just think that Eli Tomac and Haiden Deegan were just sucking this weekend? They were off.
I think so. We know that, or we know, and everybody else should know that motocross and racing is a momentum sport as far as like confidence goes. Yep. And when you can start off the weekend good and get the ball rolling in the best direction, it definitely makes it easier throughout the weekend. Like we saw with Haiden Deegan. Crash, bumps his leg, probably nicked his little confidence a little bit, and we saw that kind of snowball into a bad race weekend. Same thing with Eli. Feeling it, was hitting the flow, bike blows up, gets 34th. Now we're starting way wide on RedBud, where basically he's already a bad starter as is.
Yep.
And now we're way outside, and he's got to funnel through the S's and be probably like anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds back in the first 30 seconds of the race with a bad start.
Yeah. Anton, what are your thoughts on the weekend with the whole Eli Tomac situation? What was the vibes? What was just, it just seemed like Eli was off.
Well, the first moto, before the mechanical happened, I mean, he was on a pretty good charge, to see what was coming, because trackside, you could feel the excitement from everybody watching him start putting it together. He was behind Justin Cooper. when he got by J Coop, that was the first indication of like, okay, he's rolling now. It's time to get it going.
Yeah.
Everybody's excitement for Eli at RedBud is always so high. But I mean, it's not like one of his greatest tracks because he's mechanicaled out on a couple different bikes a couple different times there.
Yep.
And I guess it started smoking 2 laps before I noticed it. So it went a while. It started going before the halfway point, and then he ran it up until the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it let go. And I mean, you could hear it knocking, you could hear everything. The thing that happened with Cooper, really nobody knew that. His happened on the last lap, and I think he said on his Instagram post it was a fuel issue, which when we get into Tony Cairoli later, it seems like that was an issue too, where we saw Tony blowing into the vent hose. The humidity yesterday, the heat, just the conditions, it seemed like there was some fuel issues that some people had to deal with.
Yeah.
But on the whole, a lot of Yamaha problems. Cody Schock had a problem. Valentin Guillot had a problem. A couple of those MX6 bikes like Scotty Verreggi and Derek Kelly had problems. Like, just a weird day for the Yamaha mechanicals all the way around. And I don't know if one exact thing can be pinpointed for all of it, because some of them were just random mechanicals. Like somebody having their radiator cap fly off and then cover their brakes in fluid and then losing all the coolant.
Yeah. I mean, well, one of the biggest things about RedBud is the track is really, really deep, and there's a lot of big jumps. You know what I mean? And you're just pinning it. And every year,
well, no, I think what's also a little overlooked, and I said this right off the bat, even in the first moto, the track looked really wet and kind of like that soft kind of mud, and it never really got that hard base.
Yeah.
So it's like, I would kind of categorize it as basically like the dirt bike was kind of like a boat. Like, you're spinning in and you're working that motor super hard with not going very fast or having a lot like forward trajectory. You know, there's no like where you can kind of get onto a plane and get moving forward.
Yes.
You're just pinning it, and it's even worse than sand because it's like soft, it's muddy, the engine's working hard, and on top of it, there's probably like that soft mulch, and there's like the really fine dirt where it gets clogged in the radiator, so now the cooling system ain't working a lot or working optimal.
Yeah.
And then you have Eli Tomac on the bike to
the whole entire time.
The whole entire time.
Not to mention he's trying his hardest that we've seen him try, clutching the shit out of it, trying to catch Jett.
Exactly. And it's not his job per se to save the motorcycle. He has a job of trying to make that thing go as fast as it can. This is not F1 racing in a sense where we have to save the car, but there's kind of a give and take, right? Because you need to push the motorcycle as fast as it can go so you can beat your competition, but you also, you can't blow up the bike and get 34th.
I mean, yeah, he's out. The championship, in my eyes, championship's over. What do we got? 4 rounds left?
Yeah, he's just
5 rounds. 5 rounds.
He's basically getting SMX, SX points and worrying about seeding.
I mean, shit. Even if Jett, it gets, something happens to Jett, God forbid.
Yeah.
If something happens to Jett, which we do not want to happen, that he's still going to have a hard time winning the championship still.
Yes.
With Hunter passing him at Southwick.
Dude, Hunter's been ripping.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. It is what it is. It's just hard.
You're a Hunter hater?
No, I'm not a Hunter hater. It's just when you see his brother, it's just like, damn, bro.
Good program.
Good program.
Good program.
Good program.
Good program.
Speaking of programs, this ain't even on the subject. What are we going to do about Justin Cooper, bro? How are we going to get him to win? He's gassed. Bro, he said it on the podium. He was gassed out.
Well, this was a very big step in the right direction. This was his first national that he was battling for the lead and passed for the lead that I can remember. Like, when has he passed for the lead?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was against Jorge Prado, though.
Yeah, but still, when you're passing for the lead in a pro motocross race, I think people kind of get numb to it because we see Jett do it so easily every single week out. Everybody's obviously not Jett Lawrence. There's stepping stones.
That's for sure.
There's stepping stones to this stuff.
Yes.
And Justin Cooper just made a huge step in the right direction on getting comfortable and getting loose. Like, he's going to rewatch that race and be like, damn, I was leading. I had the speed. I had a good start. I just need to change my lines here and there. Look at what Jett was doing.
Yeah, and then Jett
and
caught
be good.
me like a straightaway in one lap.
Bro, he made everybody look like, everybody looked stupid compared to Jett. I mean, I felt like his bike had 10 more horsepower than everybody.
And you know what's messed up? Is I know how fast Justin Cooper is.
Yes.
Like, Justin Cooper would blow my goggle strap to the moon. You know what I mean? And I'm fast.
Yes. And Jett just passed him around the outside.
Standing up, didn't even sit down.
Nope. Mm-mm.
Damn.
I was amazed. I want to gloat a little bit on Jett. I was so amazed on the pass he did on his brother, bro. His bike looked way faster than Hunter's bike, and they're in the exact same bike. And he looked like he was on a faster bike because he passed him down the straightaway. That means he's got to pin it or be in another gear taller, like 20 yards before Hunter is even thinking about gassing it. That's how you make that pass down that straightaway. Right before that tabletop, before the rockers leap.
Yeah.
Like, he's got to be gassing it like 10 or 15 yards before Hunter is even
thought about the gas.
Not thought about the gas, but 10 or 15 yards before Hunter got on the gas to make that pass down that straightaway, because he's another gear higher and like 5 or 10 mile an hour faster.
Same bike.
Same profession, like practicing with him every week. Just like, bro, like, this kid is ridiculous.
Okay, Anton, you were there. What is the consensus about Jorge Prado? I just think that he just doesn't have the speed. I'm sorry. The bike looks decent. It doesn't look terrible. Okay. I do think there's things that you can do better. Don't get me wrong, like to make him more comfortable. But I think that Jorge Prado, he doesn't understand that how fast the Australians are. Because think about it.
Americans, he got passed by Justin Cooper, bro. You got to give him some props.
Yeah, no, he got passed by Justin Cooper.
Like,
for sure.
Jorge Prado went 7.5.
And this was better, but I think
RJ Hampshire, rookie, just passed him.
Yes. And
Chase Sexton passed him.
Yes.
Or no, didn't pass him. He finished right behind him.
But
no, he passed them both motos.
Okay, look at. Either way, I just think that maybe Jorge Prado, it's time to go. Okay.
No, hold on.
Okay,
because I think I'm gonna name drop here, like Justin Thomas and Steve at Mathis and all these guys. Did they just underestimate on how fast the Americans were going?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Dude, I think that our guys are that much faster.
In the type of racing
and
that
our
we're
guys
doing?
Meaning Jett Lawrence.
I mean, we're claiming them, yes.
I just don't I don't know what to say. Dude, I think Jett would smoke Tim Geiser right now. If you said, Tim, bring over your Garibaldi Honda the exact way that you have it with your whole spec deal and whatever you got, and come over here and race Jett.
Or just race
Goggle strap is gone, dog.
I think they're just not, bro, our type of racing as a whole.
Yes.
In the U.S. that Jett and Hunter have dominated.
Yep.
And kind of put into their wheelhouse. The sprint speed, as far as setting the bar high right from lap 1, and then like being calm and settling at that high pace, like,
yeah,
it's not MXGP where you start and you kind of figure out the track and then you settle in and then you build speed throughout the moto.
Yeah.
I think it's just a combination that Jorge's got to get used to. I don't think he can't do it. He just doesn't have the speed right now. If, I know he's still probably feeling uncomfortable, but still, bro, he started first and he finished, what, 5th?
Here's the analogy that I'm giving you guys, both Mike and Ty, and tell me what you guys think, okay? I think that bike can get about 10% better, the Cowie, 10 to 20% better. So we give him 10 to 20%, right? That still barely puts him on the podium. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you gave me the best bike in the world, I go from my best finish of a 13th. If I had the best bike in the world, I'm saying maybe I would get to 9th.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yes or no? Would you
No.
agree? Well, if I had the best bike in the world on my best day
Mm-hmm.
of 13th in the 450 class,
Mm-hmm.
how much better do you think I would get from 13th if I had the best bike?
I don't know.
You could get, period.
12th?
There you go. 1 or 2 spots. So say the bike's the perfect bike for him and he gets back on his gas. That means he's still sitting 3rd or 4th, which means he's still 20 seconds behind Jett.
I mean, bro, everybody's 20 seconds behind Jett.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Sometimes, Jorge, he's a fantastic rider, and I do think he has the talent, but I think sometimes you have to go, okay, we got the bike in a decent spot. Now I got to figure out how to drop a couple seconds again. That's where we're at. Yes or no?
I mean, yeah, my analogy is a little bit similar. I think he has to stop thinking about trying to get Jorge Prado back from MXGP and create a whole new Jorge Prado and saying that I have to get better than the best I've ever was and even drop a couple more seconds in. Doesn't matter how I get there. Doesn't matter how I feel. I got to create a new Jorge Prado on Kawasaki Team Green, because if he's trying to get something that he felt in the past, this is not going to happen.
Yeah.
It never, works out that way.
Yeah, he
has to create a new guy. Like, you have to go back to the drawing board and be like, all right, I need to sprint faster. I need to drop my lap times. I need to do this more. Like, him seat bouncing that double before the finish line, bro, you can't be seat bouncing. You got to hit that shit 4th gear wide open and stand up and hit it with some speed. Like, if you think you're going to...
Yeah, but that's the thing. And that's where I think you're on point. I think over in MXGP when he was winning, that was the bar.
Yeah,
that was sick.
Yeah, but
now
you're racing 2 brothers called the Lawrences, and they're a whole step ahead of you, dog.
Dude,
like, they just blew his doors off.
Anton, what's your thoughts on Ty's analysis? Because I think that's pretty fucking on point.
Okay, straight from the horse's mouth, he's still saying the bike's not enough. Like, straight from the horse's mouth. He said it in multiple interviews. He said it to Mathis last week after the Southwick thing, as he explained, I'm a sand rider. I should be winning. So, like, Jorge's still saying straight up, like, he needs more from the motorcycle. And Tickle was on Mathis's show last week and was
I heard.
Considerable effort. The guy's a Bennett club. I've been very consistent in what I've said through all of this, and I'm not going to change with what I've said. It's going to take a year. You're going to come over here. You're going to figure this out. It's all of it. There was all of the expectation in the beginning of he was going to be in California full time. There was always going to have to be a consideration of moving somewhere else. They've been at club. So now he's went from being in California, where he spent from November of last year until just a few weeks ago, realistically. So getting into that way of life. Anybody knows South Carolina and Southern California, probably the 2 biggest places that you could find of a difference geographically, regionally, culturally, all that stuff in the United States. So there's another culture shock that he's got to get over after we talked about the food and all that. Like, dude, he has a million things that he has got to unpack to get this thing better. But the one thing that he has said, and he has never said any of that stuff as an excuse, he has said consistently, got to get the bike better, got to get the bike better, got to get the bike better. Like, he is not wavering from the bike needing to be better. He's getting good starts. Like, he is getting good starts. You can't deny that. But I haven't watched his career extensively. Like, I don't sit down and watch, every single MXGP round going on. But I know that he is a great starter and has the potential to do a lot in the opening laps. And the thing that I see in the opening lap especially is his jump is good. To the first turn is great, but there is something that happens within the first 5 corners where he makes a mistake, and then you break the momentum, and everybody else is able to start linking the first 7 corners together. And it's a notchy turn. It's like he gets on the gas and the rear end loops out, or whatever it is. But like it's a mistake within the critical first 45 seconds of the race that then he has to start rebounding from. Like, I could be wrong on that, but I've seen a couple times, like I saw at High Point, he lit the rear end up and then he lost 2 spots.
Yeah, but that will fix itself the more times he does it. And I'm going to leave it here. Like,
please, let's wrap this up.
Starting out front is never going to be a negative. Like that's gonna put his learning curve and the bike and everything straight to the peak. Like that's going to be the straightest trajectory,
fastest way to get there.
To get and the tip of the top, the peak that we're trying to get to is moto wins.
Yep.
And him starting out front and fading back to whatever you want to say, fading back, not having the speed, getting back to 7th and 5th, doesn't matter. But getting out front is going to help that.
Yeah.
With that being said, he's just got to be really honest with himself and being like,
honesty with yourself, bro.
The bike is going to be, the bike is what it is. This is where we're at. And I got to make the most of it and make it work in this window and maybe change my style to what the bike is giving me.
Amen.
And that's all I'm going to say. And hopefully you can make that quick.
But is that not what maybe he's been doing? And you're just kind of seeing that happen, and we just don't know what that looks like, because he said to Mathis last week, like that I did everything I had for 1 lap, and Tickle on Mathis. I just listened to the interview just to because I heard about it from last week, so I was like, let me hear it back again, and to hear what Tickle said, to hear what Jorge said, like all of that.
Yeah,
and he's like Jorge said, and Tickle interpreted it, so that's all there. That, hey, that was all I had for that lap. And Tickle's like, yeah, I saw it. That was what we know he is capable of.
Yes.
But Jorge said, I can't do that for 35 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then to watch Moto 2, because I was watching it super close this weekend, for him to catch Cody in the first lap, to then do, a really good set of laps in the opening part of the moto, and then feel the pressure from Jay Coop, who knows his motorcycle backwards and forwards.
Oh, yeah.
And like Justin's making the steps forward that he needs to make. Maybe that was Jorge riding the bike to his potential, his new potential, the bike to its new potential, as long as he could. And then guess what? Like the last 10 minutes of the race, it's just not there. I had Mark Johnson from REP Suspension talk to me last week at Southwick, and he's like, there's guys that I know when I have to make their suspension settings, like especially for Southwick, it's not going to be good early in the race, but in the last part of the race when everybody else is tired and you need to make positions, this is where you're going to start setting the bike up for.
Yeah.
You got to wait until that last 10-minute window. Like Jorge maybe maximized everything he could off the motorcycle and what his feelings were with it in the first 20 minutes of Moto 2 on Saturday. And then the last 10 minutes was when it kind of maybe came apart, or maybe he needed more, whatever it was. But I think he's riding better, but he is being very consistent in what he's saying. He's not finding a new excuse every week. He's like, bike's got to be faster. Bike's got to be faster. Bike's got to be faster. And I have said from the time that we heard that he was going to Kawasaki, he's going to have a point at some time where he's like, yeah, they're telling me they can't make it any faster. And Kawasaki has been consistent over 2 years in saying, we are at a threshold of our power. To take it to another level would be a big step. We have bike reliability that we got to go out there. Because what's the alternative? They build the bike to the hill and then he's just grenading them. Just like we spent the first 5 minutes of the show talking about, like, should Yamaha be concerned that they just munched that many motors?
Yes.
What do you want? Do you want him to be munching engines and he's out there running first place and 30 seconds ahead for a couple laps until the bike shits itself?
Yes,
or does
that's
he
what
need
I
to
want.
learn what do you got?
Yeah,
but then like as
guys,
Kawasaki, if you're not selling motorcycles, then you don't sell a bike that looks reliable. Like,
thank you.
But Michael,
it's the whole thing.
You guys are looking at this like they're gonna know if it's unreliable before it even gets on the racetrack.
Yes.
Like, what do you think you have Tickle for?
And two, build something that might blow up and give your guy some confidence. If he can beat him by 30 seconds for 5 extra horsepower,
you guys are, dude. These bikes are.
I don't know. We've been beating a dead horse. Bro, let's move on.
You guys know all these bikes are taking time bombs anyways. They got the timer on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
At 25 hours, that thing's got to be rebuilt. Fresh new motor. Dude, like everybody knows that.
The Suzukis, bro, 20 hours, you can't go a minute past.
No.
That thing's done.
Yeah. I mean, they're already ticking time bombs.
Yes.
And that's if everything goes perfect.
Speaking of ticking time bomb, On to the next segment. Ty,
What?
how many hours can you get out of a dirt trick sprocket?
Thousands.
Thousands, bro. We don't even know how many hours. We just
We
know
don't.
it's a guaranteed 300. 300 hours out of a dirt trick sprocket made in USA. Go to dirttricks.com right now and get your sprockets today. Let's open this up, bro. Antonio Caroli, a bet's a bet, boys. $100. Uncle Ty, top 18. What, 17 or better?
Yep.
And Antonio Caroli
Got 14.
gets a 14th, which is total bullshit. Son of a bitch. I forgot that you only get points for top 20 and they score it way differently. Because I'll tell you right now, a 39.9 should not be a 14th overall.
Hey,
But the math's mathin', bro. So $100 is $100. Congratulations, Uncle Ty. Gentleman's bet, $100.
hey, the only tip I've gotten from Track Talker so far.
I thought the Ducati looked bitching till whatever happened and they had to tow it off the track with the tractor.
Hey, the boy was ripping. He was impressive.
Dude, Anton was speaking the truth, bro.
Yes.
Antonio Caroli has clearly not stopped. Like, he has been working still.
I just don't know how he's like still in the same spot from when he's raced factory KTM to now racing basically a bone stock Ducati. And he was running a solid 9th place and was in almost the same position in the second moto.
Bro, MXGP champion Jorge Prado, first moto, gets 7th. Retired ass stock Ducati Antonio Caroli gets 9th. And you wonder why Antonio Caroli has his name, bro.
Bro, Jorge Prado's going to go Ducati next year on the 450.
Not a shot, bro. I mean, I guess you never know. It could happen, right?
It could so happen.
Very rare. So, okay, so what did we think of overall as the Ducati performance? Like, what do you think of the chassis? What do you think of the motor? What do you think of just everything when you watched it?
I don't know. It looked like a dirt bike and it looked good.
Rear shock looks a little weird to me. But Antonio Caroli was making it work. And he was up front on the starts.
Yes.
Which means
I don't know. I need to see it in person.
Whatever they're delivering is in the ballpark.
It is definitely a competitive motorcycle.
Other than it didn't make it through the second moto. How do we feel about that?
I mean, the Yamaha didn't make it through the first.
That is a valid point, my dude. That is a very valid point. Anton, how was the whole vibe? Did you get to go see anybody over there at Ducati? Like, what kind of truck did they bring? What was the whole setup? Did you get to see anything of the bike blowing up, or did it blow up, or was it a gas issue? Do you know anything?
I think it was a gas issue. And I think, honestly, we're going to find out that was an issue for quite a few people this weekend. Just fuel boiling, high humidity, high temps, heavy track, like all that. Like, I think that's because, I mean, you got to be a 9-time world champion and have spent a lot of time on a motorcycle to know to unscrew the gas cap and then start blowing in there a little bit. That was, to see that social clip, I was like, who else is going to fucking do that? Like, who else are you going to see that's going to, nobody.
Not even Eli Tomac.
The thing that I was just, he's been riding that Ducati and it's the ones that he has been riding and that everybody else see where all of that have been on are trick. Like, those are the factory bikes, MXGP stuff, all that. When they kept reiterating stock motorcycle on TV, I was like, oh yeah, it is a stock motorcycle, and all the things you have to do just to get in under the homologation rules and all of that. To see him do what he did on Saturday was wildly impressive. He was one of the top 5 guys going into the first turn on a stock bike. Like, it wasn't a special engine, that wasn't anything. Looked like it was pitted out of the factory connection truck. And so that just continues some of the suspension work that they've been doing over the last week.
Yep.
With him out there on the East Coast and all that. And yeah, it was a good time. Tony's just the 9-time world champion, consummate professional, knows exactly what to do, did the job. 9th place is insane. I'm sure that he was outside of the top 10. If you take out Eli's DNF, put him behind that, and then Cooper having an issue on the last lap there. So, like, right where I expected him to be. but that was awesome.
It was freaking really cool to see. To see Antonio Caroli be that competitive after how much I doubted him. I am so happy that he was where he was. Like, to be able to see that and see him at that age ripping like that, there's nobody else that can really do that.
Yeah, no, definitely not. And that's just a testament of how much work he's been putting in on that Ducati.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And
that takes lot of hours not to lose any of that.
And all the years that he's won championships, because you ain't doing that. He's like the old head at the basketball court that ain't moving like the young kids, but still knows how to get the job done.
So you want to go? You want to go double or nothing on Millville?
No, hell no. What's double or nothing? Give me a bet.
Same bet, double or nothing.
No, not a shot. Not a shot. I think he might do better. He might be 7th, bro. Like, after watching him the first moto, I'm like, dude, Antonio Caroli looks like he's got a point to prove. The real bet is, can Chase Sexton actually beat Jett Lawrence through the rest of the entire season even once?
I think so.
Will Jett get beat one time for the rest of the season? I don't think so.
I think so.
I'll take that bet. You ready? For the next...
What's this ridiculous bet Adam's going to say?
For the next 5 rounds till the end of the season, I'll bet Jett doesn't lose an overall.
No. Doesn't lose a moto.
No.
Yes.
No, because he's
Come on, bro. You just said he's not going to lose a race.
No, because except for the last round. The last round doesn't count because his ass will lay up. I know his ass will lay up because he has a whole round lead already. So he might not even show up.
So we have Millville, Unadilla, Budds Creek, Ironman. What's the one I'm missing?
Washougal.
Oh, Washougal.
So is Washougal next weekend? This coming weekend?
Next weekend. Weekend after that. This weekend's Millville.
Oh,
yeah,
Millville,
this weekend's Millville, then Washougal.
Budds Creek or Unadilla, Budds Creek, Ironman. Is that still how that goes?
Yep.
That's been going like that forever.
Yep. Either way.
It ends at Budds Creek this year.
Oh, it does. It does. Ironman switched.
Oh, because you got to get ready for Millville.
It goes Ironman, then Unadilla, then Budds Creek.
Oh.
Got it.
Oh, okay.
I don't want any part of that bet. I already lost once. I'm not a betting man.
Yeah, you are. You just lost.
All right. Let's move on. Let's move on to Stan Benson Racing. If you want ETS fuels, Pirelli tires shipped to your house, where do you go?
Stan Benson Racing.
Bakersfield, California. You need anything at the track? Stan Benson Racing. They are the best. Go online, pick some stuff out. They'll ship it to your house. Gotta love it. I mean, we got to start out with a big round of applause for Joe Shimoda, right?
Yes.
I mean, you have the head of Honda at the races, and you pull out a 1-1 that you haven't pulled out all year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is the big thing for me, though. How was Joe Shimoda the only one to capitalize on Haiden Deegan's worst weekend of the entire season?
Because...
How is that possible?
Because you know what you can count on in the 250 class?
Inconsistency.
Okay. It being mixed up.
Okay. Joe Shimoda obviously isn't the best at the beginning of the motos.
Mm-hmm.
Gets passed a lot. Excuse me. But is able to kind of come back, make a push at the end of the moto. Obviously really strong. And we've seen that his whole entire career.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He's better in the late half of the season. He's better in the late half of the moto. Is he going to be able to make a push at these other races when Deegan is feeling better to be able to actually beat him at the late part of that moto? Like, what does Joe have to do at the beginning of the moto to even be in the fight? Because I personally don't think that Haiden Deegan is going to let that late moto Joe push happen with how fit Haiden Deegan is. Obviously, we've seen an off weekend from Haiden Deegan, and they said on the show that he's never actually won at RedBud, you know, so who knows? He's been on Instagram a lot. He was off the last week with his parents at the lake, and maybe this weekend just caught up to him, especially because he's not great. But going forward, do you think what does Joe Shimoda have to do to get in front of Haiden Deegan at the end of the moto?
Bro, you know what we can count on? Is a Haiden Deegan bounce back at Millville.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like there's one thing that kid's really, really good at. It's when somebody says some shit and then he'll just come back and shut everybody up.
Yes, exactly.
You score a point, I'm going to score 2.
Yes. But with Joe Shimoda, like he's just got to be mentally tougher. Like he has to get ready to battle Haiden and go head to head because when's the last time we actually seen, other than Cole Davies, like battle with Haiden Deegan head to head in outdoors?
I mean, there was a lot of guys battling with him this weekend.
I mean, yes, but
obviously he was off his game, but no, not really.
I mean, when he's on though, he's on.
Yes.
And like we seen it, like, because realistically, like the first moto when his bike was blowing up, you could totally tell, like after he went down, he was probably hurting a little bit. And then, I would say almost kind of gave up.
Yeah, I would say for sure.
Because he finished 14th.
I would say for sure gave up because his bike was smoking. He doubled down on crashing. I mean, it was just not a good moto. And he's just like, dude, you know what? I'm not going to lose any more points. I could make this worse.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just bring it home.
Yes. So
shitty first moto.
Yes. I feel like we have yet to see like Hayden's A game compared to somebody else's A game and be battling on that day. I hope we get to see it these next 5 rounds, one time or another, with either Levi Kitchen, with Joe Shimoda, with, Jalik Swoll, with even Michael, his freaking teammate.
Yeah.
I think those 4 guys are going to be the only ones that are going to be able to, battle Haiden on one of his best days.
Yeah. Levi Kitchen. That brings up a great point. Where the hell has it been that Levi Kitchen first moto at the end of the moto push? I mean, that's the Levi Kitchen that we know.
Or
right?
I feel like that's the Levi. No, that's not the Levi Kitchen we know. The Levi Kitchen we know fades at the end. That we need this Levi Kitchen to happen more, where he's turning it up on that 15-minute mark and pushing till that checkered flag.
Dude, I haven't seen Levi Kitchen ride like he rode at the end of the first moto at RedBud in a long time, or the first laps of the second moto.
Yeah.
Like that was aggressive, absolute just F it. You know what I mean? Like total just caution to the wind, hanging it out, passes Joe Shimoda around the outside, right?
Yep.
Getting it done, and then goes off the track, crashes, has to go in the pits, and then what ends up? What did Levi end up in the second moto?
19th.
Like, barely comes into the points.
Well, I mean, he came into the pits and then went back out, and then still, he's going to probably get the, what's that?
He has to be hurting.
Yeah. But, he passed a lot of people to get those 19 points.
You mean,
2
points?
Yeah, the 2 points. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. But yeah, getting that 19th place, it's just like, dude, this is the best we've seen Levi Kitchen ride.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't get to capitalize on the points that Haiden Deegan just gave away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the 250 class has a lot to learn on consistency. That's why Jalik Swoll got second with a 6.3.
So what do we see from Levi Kitchen? Do we see a win at Washougal?
I don't remember. Is Levi good at Washougal?
That's his home race.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he's good.
That's true. That's true.
I've seen Haiden Deegan rip at Washougal.
That was Haiden Deegan's like breakout ride.
Yes.
Like where it really changed, I think, everyone's perspective about Haiden Deegan.
Yeah, because that's where we tracked down and went 1-1 against Hunter Lawrence.
Yep. I want to give some big shout outs. We got to give a shout out to Ryder DeFrancisco, Bakersfield boy, local kid, qualified first in qualifying. Not the best motos, but second moto definitely looked a lot better, turning around in the right direction.
When are we going to see some Ryder DeFrancisco starts, bro? I mean, this kid used to whole shot everything.
I think you're going to see it when he starts to get confidence.
Like, I think Ryder DeFrancisco is going to have a really good weekend in Washougal because he's raced it a lot as an amateur. It's going to feel a little bit more comfortable with him.
Yep.
He's done the start over there quite a bit. Yeah. You know, if he can get qualifying, get a good gate pick, like it definitely does something as a rider when you line up first and everyone else is behind you when you go pick your gate for the first moto. Like, he's got to gain some confidence from that.
Yes, without a doubt. And it didn't even matter how he did in the motos to me. Like, dude, qualifying first, you were the fastest guy.
Yes. And we know that that kind of carries a long ways with even like, you know, re-signing with the team next year. Yes. And just the belief that other people have around you saying like, oh yeah, he can do it now.
Yeah, because it's not like, you know,
it's not like we're not like, you know, we've seen it during the week, but we haven't seen it during the race. But this was a confirmation that he can do it at the race on Saturday.
And two, everybody had 2 15-minute sessions to get a fast lap in without anybody in their way. You know what I mean? And Ryder D gets it done. That's a big, big deal in my eyes. Another guy we got to give a shout out to, Parker Ross, rode so good this weekend. Oh my gosh. Bar X Yamaha, Parker Ross, that was a cool turnaround. And then another guy, Ty, that rode really good was Dylan Schwartz. Qualified third.
Yes. But another Yamaha that blew up.
Yes. Another
Unfortunately.
Yamaha. Yes. But
I mean, I would have liked him to see.
Moto.
But he was in a really good position before a bike blew up.
Yes. And it blew up, I'm pretty sure, the first moto.
Yes. 38.
Yes. And then second moto, 7th place. And qualified third. I mean, those are big steps.
Yes. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
So out of Dylan Schwartz, Lux Turner, Parker Ross,
Avery Long.
Well, where's it? No, I mean, yeah. Well, yeah, I guess Avery. So Lux Turner, Dylan Schwartz, Parker Ross, and Avery Long. Those 4 right there.
Yep.
Which one is going to give a shot next year at a factory ride, you think? Or do you think any of them will get a shot?
I would go with Parker Ross or Lux Turner are going to get a shot. And the only reason I say that, I really think Dylan is really good, but Lux
he's been
Turner,
around longer than Lux and Parker.
Yes. And Lux and Parker are new kids on the block, and they both just smoked Julian Beaumer. Julian has to get his shit together, you know, because he's way faster than that. All that is a diss on Julian because we know how fast he is. There's no reason. Do we know
if his shoulder still is like...
It could be.
Like, why doesn't he just, like, stop and get his shoulder fixed?
I don't know. But if that's the issue, then he needs to. Because he shouldn't be...
He said he just has no energy. He's like, I just can't put it together. Nothing's going right. Like, I talked to him afterwards yesterday, and he's like, yeah, I have nothing right now. He's going to get some tests done this week to figure out what it is. Like, he has no energy.
I mean, we've seen that happen to a lot of people, and that's a long road to recovery, like either Lyme disease or the other one. Epstein-Barr we've seen happen. Like, that's a long road. And that shit happens
all the time with motocross racers because you just fucking work too hard.
And that's like, it's kind of the time of year that shit happens because you're so depleted with traveling and just trying to get better week to week. That would really be shitty if that was the case. Hopefully you just need some rest.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's like Julian Beaumer. That is not the Julian Beaumer we know. That is not it. We know how fast that kid is. That right there should be like the telltale of like, hey, we need to take a break. We need to reevaluate, figure this shit out. What, dude? Realistically, I know it's like the motocross, supercross ego, and now that I'm out of it. Who cares if Julian Beaumer misses 3 rounds?
Yeah. If he can come back and be in the top 5, they'd be worth it.
Especially now if it's SMX, where it's like a continued series to playoffs. What does it matter? Give the kid a break, come back at the last round of outdoor, get kind of pepped up, and get ready for SMX.
Yeah. It's definitely a viable I mean, I would be looking at that, especially in, because you can't just keep on getting around, 12th to basically 18th every weekend.
Yeah, dude, rest your star players. They do it all the time in football and freaking basketball.
Yeah. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Jalik Swole freaking loved it, dude. On the podium, second moto, just talking smack to the haters because I guess there was like a couple people that were saying he wasn't worth re-signing, and he just straight shut the haters up. What a good moto for Jalik Swole in Moto 2. Gets out front, gets the whole shot, holds his own, right? And just handles business.
Yeah, I don't know where he heard that from or why he even, if it put a chip on his shoulder, sweet. But I think all of us who even knew motocross or had an inkling about talent, dude, like Jalik has been the most talented one on that Triumph, after the Achilles or even before the Achilles.
And
like something with him and that bike, like does work.
Yes. And I like his attitude and personality.
Yeah.
I hate his fucking bar setup. I'm going to tell you that right now. Like, the first thing I would do if I was Mike Brown is be like, yo, Jalik, dude, we're going to fix your bar setup, bro.
Oh, that reminds me, bro. Hey, Michael, because you probably saw this. Adam definitely didn't see this. Did you see Ryan
Hughes and Mike Brown
hug
it out?
Yeah, and then Ryan surprised Mike Brown.
No, I didn't know he surprised him. I just know he visited him.
Yeah, like he surprised them and like went and visited him and I guess hung out. But it was funny because like in our era, like
they hated each other. Well, because it was like the two most hard-ass dudes that absolutely despised each other that went at it.
Yes. And then to see them in like the same photo, like hugging out and seeing like happy they saw each other, I was like, oh, hell yeah. it was like similar to seeing like, Michael Johnson and like Larry Bird, like say what up to each other.
Magic Johnson?
Yeah, mean? Magic Johnson.
Michael Johnson. Yeah. No, straight up. Just like people that absolutely despise each other and now are friends, which is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. And that just goes to show you how competitive we are as dirt bikes. They probably had a sick conversation and really like each other and think the same, but they just hated each other because they wanted to beat each other so bad.
And they're probably very similar.
Yes. All right. Let's keep this thing moving. Let's go to Big L, Big Dub, presented to you by Cherbis. If you want the best fitting plastics in the game and the new handguards that they came out with, pretty awesome. Little extra vent action. You know what I mean? Get some air on your hands. If you need anything, go to CherbisUSA.com and pick up your plastics today. Let's go with you, Mike. Because I have a few, but what's your Big L and Big Dub of the weekend?
I mean, the Big L, I hate to bash on Levi after we just, we've talked about Levi so much in the last few weeks, and I think I've even said that he's been my Big L a couple times at this point.
Yeah.
But that second moto, or that last lap, first moto speed that he had was unbelievable. And then I asked Tom Vialle in the post-race scrum just about how is it to battle with the guy that you train with and, you do all this stuff with. And he's like, Levi was ripping. All that was great. And he goes, in the second moto, I was having my own problems. And he goes, I didn't know Levi was having problems, but when Levi came around to get me, he goes, I thought Levi was lapping me, so I let him have the position. And that cost Tom points. Like, if you go watch on the Pro Motocross channel, Tom pretty much explains, like, yeah, I thought Levi was riding so well after the way that first moto went. I didn't know he was doing worse than me, so I let him by and then lost that. But the pace that Levi had in those last few laps of Moto 1 was unreal. Just to watch that and just how what he was able to do with the motorcycle, all of it. That's what, when we mentioned it a few weeks ago when I brought Levi up, that's what you hope to see from him. But then he just had a complete fuck up in the early part of Moto 2 when he went over that berm coming off the start in the second lap, first full lap, whatever it was, and that cost him all that time, and then to have to go to the mechanics area. I guess he was throwing up before the race too. Somebody told me, I don't know if that's like a pre-nerves thing, if that was an I'm sick thing. Dude, a lot of dudes throw up though, so it's not really
Zach Osborne.
Really a surprise.
Who was throwing up?
Levi.
Levi was. Yeah. So like not really a surprise, but whatever it happens. Big dub for the whole thing, and I know this is like a blanket, is Honda. Dude, Honda crushed this weekend. You're the title sponsor of the race, so that's one whole thing in and of itself.
Yeah.
You pick the pro motocross race of the year to buy. That's huge. It's the Honda RedBud National. That's great. They spent a lot of effort to have the president of HRC come and watch a moto, and then he gets to see the boys do what they do, and then has Joe do what he does. And as we talked about with Joe, is he staying? Is he going part of this Honda thing? I mean, how much more respect do you get for the company than when you lay it down in front of the Japanese boss of the company? So, like, I'm sure Joe just did himself 1,000 favors for his relationship with Honda forever after that.
Yeah.
Lifetime contract.
But then,
check.
Oh yeah, and then Tony Bao is like, honest to God, one of the best motorcycle riders. So they have him there. There's going to be a trials event in Rhode Island, I guess, next weekend.
Yep.
So he's already over here for it. But then, I mean, people get to see that demo. And Honda just crushed it. Like, Honda had everything that they needed to have. All of the big wigs were there. And then you get first place, second place, 450 class, first place, 250 class. Like,
hey, Michael.
How do you beat that?
Michael, all I got to say, bro, is, Honda's got to be a little less obvious on how much they pay for the script. Okay. Like, Doc, come on. President flies in on one race a weekend, and then we just all of a sudden
1-1, 18th to first,
1-1,
and then Jett Lawrence gets second.
1-1, and the trials guys are going. Come on, like,
bro.
Yeah.
If we're writing the script, like, let's do it on the Kawasaki sponsored weekend or something,
Hey, they tried to throw in a wrench by making Jett crash.
It's
but
like,
it didn't work.
They're like, oh yeah, we'll make them crash on lap 1. Like, bro, come on.
Okay, do you got any big dubs for the weekend, or are we moving
on? Let's see. I have a few. Big dub that I don't think he's getting enough credit is RJ Hampshire.
Dude.
My guy, rookie outdoor season, bro.
It's really unbelievable.
He's absolutely crushing it.
With a fucked up wrist. Excuse my language, sorry fans.
I mean, I don't even know if it's messed up anymore. He got the bone that was messed up taken out of his wrist, so he's good. But he went 3-6 for a 4th overall in the 450 class
to beat Chase Sexton at his home
5-4
race.
Yes. You know what I'm saying? So my boy is ripping. Like, I could see him like legitimately on the box in Millville.
I mean, let's put it this way. If RJ wanted a contract extension with more money, you just solidified it, my dude.
Bro, he's fighting for that 450 big money contract.
Oh, he's going to get it, too.
And with that being said, what I like from, seeing him and him type of racing, and I just know his attitude because we know how RJ races.
Yep.
I think if he gets up to speed and controls it a little bit more, he could be a competitor for Jett because he's been racing him way longer and is not putting Jett on a pedestal so much. Like, yes, he's still got, some speed to, wrangle in and a little bit more racing craft and stuff like that. But if he gets up there, I think he'll take out Jett.
That's what I was just going to say.
I think
he'll take his ass out.
I think he'll pin it right into him and brake check him. And I think everybody else is scared to do it.
I think you're right. I think they got too much respect.
Yeah. And RJ's like, the only respect I get is the money on my check when I win.
Dude, RJ is a savage, bro.
He's a savage. He's riding the 450 good.
Dude, he's the second place American on the weekend.
Yeah.
4th of July weekend. Okay,
he's ripping.
Big L.
Big L is got to be Austin Faulkner, bro. 33-14.
Bro.
When are we going to have a breakout ride with this guy?
It's going to be a while. It's going to be a while.
All I got to say is go get a rope, tie it to your teammate, and have him pull you around the track.
Bro, it'll come. Just chill on my guy.
I know. I'm glad that he's healthy still.
Me too. That's all that I care about. I don't even care about anything else. Just get through a year healthy. I don't care what place he gets. I'm ignoring all the positions that Austin Faulkner gets
just
until
imagine
next
how
January.
much dirt he's eating every weekend.
Bro, it's going to piss him off, and he's going to come January and be in the title hunt for Supercross.
Bro, he's like that lady who used to eat dirt that I watched see on Discovery Channel.
That's a little far. Okay.
There was a lady on Discovery Channel that used to eat dirt.
I believe you.
That's what I think about when I think of Austin Faulkner.
Me and her both. Okay. Moving on. California Coast Plumbing in the trenches. Something we have to talk about that we haven't brought up yet. Tom Vialle gets taken out second moto by Moseman, just straight cleaned out.
Did you see his explanation on the after race vital
Nope.
interview?
Nope.
He said that his front end was coming up the same time Michael's tire came, and it just ejected him.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. Like he was wheeling as he wheelied.
And it just went.
Moseman had the line. Yes. I have no problem with it. If Vialle and Moseman were switched, but you got to pay attention.
I felt like Moseman put a little oomph on that when he hit the corner.
I 100% believe he put a little extra into the wall. Dude, if I got the line and I see some dude coming.
There's out of the lifetime I have seen you race, you have never done that to anybody but me.
Bro, did you not see the twofer I did on John Cross and Carlin? Do you not remember that?
Bro, I
took two guys out in one turn.
Slow motion, though. Like the
video was slow motion.
No. The only thing I think I've been seen similar to you is when that homie took you out in the LCQ. What's his?
Brees.
Yes. I've seen you on the other end of it.
Oh, yeah, that was shitty. Okay. But either way, the big news this week is allegedly Tom Vialle got an offer from HRC of some sort to go back to MXGP.
Yeah.
If we're Tom Vialle, it seems like Tom Vialle wants to stay. But what's the best move? If you're Tom Vialle, Anton, I'm asking you this question, okay? If you're Tom Vialle, what's the best move? Is it to try to make a 450 appearance, see what happens, or is it too risky and you go with the HRC and you finish out over there, or has it always been your dream to be over in the United States and you take the risk that you already took anyways?
So when this kind of came up, I was very surprised, like so many other people were, because, Tom had said even as an MX2 rider, he wanted to be here and all of that. But then since he won that second title, a lot of us have just been saying, like, oh my God, I can't believe he's going to have to go up and he's going to get eaten alive, all of that. So, I mean, I'm sure he's definitely heard the same things. The KTM situation through the last couple months has been an interesting thing to follow, just a whole bit. So I'm sure that this is not how he envisioned what he'd be thinking about, July 2025, how the next couple years would look. But then it sounds like, look, the only people that I've talked to that have research of it, so I'm taking their word on it, is Lewis. And Lewis has talked to everybody, and he's like, yeah, I was a little surprised by it too, but then it seems like it is happening. And then the more that I've talked to other people, it makes a lot of sense. Me thinking about it after talking to Lewis, I'm like, it does kind of make sense. And then other things that I realize about it being Garibaldi Honda and what they're involved in and where Tom's at in his career, like, he might be fine. It might actually be like kind of a brilliant little move if it does work out, because he is young. He's not terribly, terribly old. Careers are going longer than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But it's the bike, it's the bike. Jett, and we've just been, talking about how great this Honda's been.
Especially
in
outdoor.
MXGP, especially outdoor in the motocross trim, but it's been doing really good over in Europe. It's not a problem over there. Garibaldi Honda, though, is also got a bit of a hand in a world supercross team. So if Tom needed to do some supercross races, he's got something there. He will probably be lifetime invited to the Paris Supercross as long as he wants to do it.
Yep.
So he could do enough to kind of keep his hand in the ring a bit and just be like, hey, keep me in consideration, but then go over there because we know the MXGP scene is about to have a changeover. You know, how much longer is Tim Geiser going to go? How much longer is Jeffrey going to go?
Yeah.
What's going to happen with the Coonan brothers? What's I'm drawing a blank on the kid's name, the French kid. Yeah, Fevre, but there's a Renault. Renault is
Max Renault.
I heard he's going to come
Renault,
over here. I thought Steve Mathis.
Where are they going?
I thought Steve Renault was going to. Steve Mathis reported that he's going to come over here on the KTM. He's going to be the secondary 250 guy.
Wow, that would be. I would have to look into that. That would be wild because Maxime is a big kid, like massive kid. He's like Jett size. So imagine watching Jett ride a 250 after watching him ride the Yamaha 450 for the last couple of years. Yeah, so I don't know. But like I've kind of been a little off and all of that kind of thing lately. I've been just doing my deal, not worried about everybody else's jobs.
Absolutely.
But like, I just think with Tom, you know, to go over there, and he's a great rider. He knows all of that stuff. He would just be plugging and playing back into a scene that he knows well, and he could do great. And then get, what was it, 2 years? You go really learn how good of a 450 rider you are. Yeah. And then maybe you earn your way back to come back over here if somebody else is ready to take the chance on you. But how rare is that?
Yeah, I feel like if you
go back, you're going back.
Yeah, it's going to be.
You're not coming back.
Yeah, you're not coming back here.
No. Yeah, if you leave, you're not coming back. But this is my situation. If you go, right, and you get on a 450 here and you don't do good, like you really don't do good, that MXGP contract is going to get cut in half. So if he's getting offered $1 million from Garibaldi or 1.5, you know, that's going to get cut in half to 750 real quick if you have a bad season over here.
Yeah, I mean, also, I just look at the like kind of like the real life aspect of things too. Like, you know, like where does he want to live? Where does he want to start a family? Like, because like basically you either are living over here full time and giving the U.S. thing, and you're, you know, becoming a resident. Like, how's his visa? Where's his visa at, and everything? Like, I don't know enough to know about those things.
Yeah,
as a European.
That's another thing that needs to be. That's another thing that definitely has to be taken into consideration right now.
Yep.
Who your representation is, where you're signed, because I mean, for a lot of these guys, you have to have employment, and then have some people filing the paperwork for you to make sure that your visa paperwork is legit. And let me just say that that's something that in the next 2 years is definitely got to get figured out. I was talking to some people this weekend, like making my feelings clear on that situation. You know, if you're going to become the world championship and you're going to be trying to get all these people over here and this, and this, you better have a good paperwork system that you don't have anybody get fucked because they didn't have the right form filled out, or somebody didn't do something and then their whole career is at stake. And we all look stupid because we didn't have, you know, a clear pathway for them to come. Yeah. There's a lot of guys that come here on like holiday visas, you know, like, hey, I'm just going over there to go do a ride or do this or do that. And I mean, there's millions of people that do it. But let me just say, for such a fan base that is like, don't break the law coming to this country, you might want to find a lot of people and make sure that your riders that are coming here are not breaking the law and posing themselves.
Or we have like a Martin Davalos situation, you know.
Yep.
Again.
Yep. Because I mean, that's almost happened with guys that we know. There's, I mean, the Lawrence brothers, if they would have went to the Paris Supercross that one year, there was high odds that they were probably not coming back because of their visa stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and that's like the real life stuff that
you have to deal with.
We don't consider a lot.
And the United States and other countries, they don't give a shit about Supercross and motocross and if you need to race or not.
Yeah.
They do not care whatsoever. The law is the law. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Tom Vialle, back to that, you know, it's obviously been a tough year, and it's going to be building if he decides to stay on a 450.
But with that being said, I feel like this was shining a light on his career this weekend.
Why is that?
Because he was up front. He was battling for wins. Like, he's definitely going in the right direction.
Until second moto.
Yeah, but still, like, you know, if you want to be a 450 elite rider, like, next year, no matter if you're an MXGP or US, like, you need to be battling wins every single weekend.
Okay. Well, let's do this. Okay. Can we get a what the fuck KTM on that subject?
Yes. Why are we just now going back to 2024 settings?
What the fuck? Why did we just decide, okay, let's go back and try this? And both Chase Sexton and Tom Vialle are like, yeah, this is night and day better.
Yeah, why haven't we had...
And why have we heard this so many times with Honda, with Jett and Hunter, and then now KTM again?
Well, you know why? Is because they try to develop a new setting with a new chassis or even the same chassis and try to get better. But sometimes you just get so off the cart path that you have to go back to something that you know, and then you go back to it and you're like, oh, that's actually really similar to what I was looking for.
But like, where is the guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't there be a guy? Because we did this on our team all the time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We tested like, okay, this is where we were at. Then this is the new thing, right? You're like, okay, this is the base. This is it. This is the base. And every like month or so, we would check back and forth just to make sure. How are they getting that far away and then going back now and figuring out? And then Tom Vialle is now like fast again.
Because this is what a lot of people, I think, don't consider, is when you're coming off a supercross suspension and it's such a different feel than outdoors.
Yeah.
And I would hope that they start with their 2024 setting right after supercross. That would be my baseline.
Thank you.
Right? If I was team manager
every year,
if my
say, what did you end with at outdoors last year that you did good on?
Yeah, that's what we're starting with.
Yes.
And then, so what I'm thinking is what happens is you come off the supercross stuff. That's what's so stiff and so rigid. And then you're like, oh man, this doesn't feel really good. And then you just start changing it. And then you start going down the wrong road. And then you're so far off. But how come it's round 6 that we're now going back to 2024? Like, why didn't we do this on round 3 or round 4?
Dude, isn't it amazing that like, even at that level, you can stray that far away from what you know has won before. Like, you know, Chase Sexton was ripping on this specific setting, and you can still have a hard time because you're riding the supercross deal and then you're kind of coming off and you're not.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Yeah, but that's the thing, Adam, is like those settings are only good for 2 or 3 years because then the chassis and everything changes. Bikes change every 2-3 years.
I mean, it is weird though, because it's kind of crazy with our whole Suzuki thing having the same bike and how, Kenny has been able to be consistent like that throughout those years and get better because it's only a minute change. And I think a lot of manufacturers are going to not changing their bike as much because they can't get as much out of it.
No, that's wrong.
You don't think so?
You know why? Because they have to be branding a new motorcycle, a new improved, even if it's not.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they got to brand something new for the consumer.
Why am I going to sell my old Honda and buy a new Honda?
Yeah. Yep. Need to sell new bikes.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's finish out the show. X brand. Does the zebra keep his stripes? Who are we picking?
Joe Shimoda.
All right.
This is very Joe Shimoda-esque. Later half in the season, getting the ball rolling, but does the trend continue? Like, I'm not even saying like continue as like 1-1 next weekend, but do we see Joe back on the podium in Millville? I hope so.
Yes. I think the real question is, do we see Joe Shimoda back on the top step at Millville? I don't think Joe's going to be off the podium for the rest of the season.
Yeah, but if he's back on the podium, that means he's battling for the win. I think so.
I don't.
You really don't?
Mm-mm. I think the real question is, can he battle for the win, not the podium? I think the podium's a no-brainer now, especially in the 250, because it's so sorted out. You know what I mean? Like,
you mean it's so mixed up?
No, I feel like it's pretty sorted out, to be honest. And behind him is mixed up. There's too many inconsistent people behind Joe and Haiden for it to be like this crazy difference.
Yeah, but any given weekend, Tom Vialle, Haiden Deegan, Levi Kitchen, Joe Shimoda, and Jalik Swoll are in the top 5.
Yes, but they're not at the top 5 at the end of the moto where Joe and Haiden are. That's been the biggest difference, right? Is like that last 10 minutes, Joe and Haiden have clearly been that next level.
When Hayden's on or when his bike's not blowing up.
Well, I mean, it's one weekend off, which you can't be, he's been messing around a little bit.
You know what's crazy I just thought of?
What?
The only bike that has been able to beat Haiden is a Honda HRC.
There you go. I mean, it's pretty gnarly.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty gnarly.
Haiden he's good, dude. I mean, I really think are we going to see a new Haiden next weekend? Bounce back?
Yes.
What do you think was wrong with him this weekend? Was he sick? Was he off? Did he just hate the track?
No, I honestly think that crash kind of stung him a little bit.
Well, the multiple crashes. He crashed in practice. He crashed in the race.
I know, but it started with that first one. That first one stung a little bit.
Which one?
The one he went over the bars.
Mm.
The first one, yeah.
The practice one, yeah.
Are we watching the same event?
Well, I'm so mixed up with like first race crash because we had a crash in the second moto too.
The first crash of the day.
Yeah, I don't think he's crashed that much all season, and he did it in one weekend.
Yes. So I feel like he's gonna get straightened out.
Okay, so what's gonna be the key for Joe Shimoda keeping those stripes being on the top step this weekend?
Other than the obvious?
What's the obvious?
Get a good start.
He's getting the good starts, but I don't think he's pushing his way on those first couple laps.
Bro, he has not been getting good starts.
He did this weekend.
Well, yeah. That's why he went 1-1.
Okay, so what's the not obvious? What does Joe have to do?
Joe has to come to this weekend in Millville and just know that he's going to be up front instead of trying to replicate last weekend. He's just got to keep on moving forward, take the track for what it is, and I'm going to do the best I can do, and that's going to be up front. If he thinks he needs to ride faster to get first and try to replicate last weekend, he's going to overthink it and be slower.
Makes sense of that to me.
Meaning, like, when you're in a competition,
yep,
and you're trying to replicate something,
yeah,
and
don't try to make it too perfect.
Yes,
repeat.
Don't think about getting first place. Just go out there and be present in the moment, and go ride like you know how you're riding. Yes,
and I say this, I learned this in my career too. It's almost like you want to think about something. This is just don't get pissed at me, Ty.
I'm not pissed.
This is my thought process. I always thought about something that would get me the position instead of thinking about the position. To me, Joe Shimoda has to weave his way through those first couple corners, and that's the key. For me, if Joe Shimoda went out this weekend and thought pass in those first 5 corners at Millville, and all he thought about was pass, I think the result of winning will come after that.
Sure.
What do you mean, sure?
Yeah, you can do that.
All right. Well, is there anything else?
I don't know. Is
there? Not really. I mean, Jordan Smith's crash was pretty gnarly.
Bro.
Yeah, I mean, how much do you think they should water the lips?
I mean, are we professionals or not? He knew. In an interview, he's like, yeah, I knew it was slippery. And I knew that there was a chuckle. And I knew I had a battle tire on.
So he just, what did he say? He just,
I feel like he just Jordan Smiths himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit happens. Like, you're going to hit a kicker not straight, and then you're going to be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It happens to the best of us. It's just gnarly that he launched off 40 feet. Yeah. He's lucky that he didn't hit anybody.
I seen this on Gypsy Tales. Do you think they should ban the paddle tire?
I mean, dude, it's like trying to put the genie back in the bottle, bro.
Ty with the analogies, bro.
Dude, that shit ain't gonna happen. Shit's too good.
Bro, I mean, they could do it. It'd be easy. Anton, do you think they should Like, what do you think they should do about the paddle tire? Do you think they should just ban the paddle tire?
No, I think they should just vamp it up, bro, and just be full paddle.
You can't make them full
You put the
paddle. It
fucking
wouldn't work.
dog.
Just
Put the
make-
Jimmy Weiner scoop on it at that point. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
Just like,
Hey,
go
you're-
get the-
whoever. Yeah, that's the dumbest shit I think. I've
Go
heard in a
get the
while. You're in a bad-
Pismo paddle, bro, and just go rip it.
Do you want 7 scoops or you want 8?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of with you. Like, what are you gonna? It's a tire, bruh.
Bro, that's like on F1, like, oh, don't use your hot lap tire for your hot lap.
Yeah, I mean,
Use the
like,
harder
yeah, dude,
compound for your hot lap tire. Bro, what?
dude, you know what Dunlop and all those
This
guys are
is-
gonna do, anyways, right? They're just gonna make a better paddle tire.
Yes.
They're gonna make a tire. I'm telling you, the next thing that's gonna happen. Watch Dunlop. They're gonna make a 34 that in the front of the knob it's indented like a scoop, so that the sidewalls are a little better.
You know what's so dumb about this situation?
What?
You want to ban something because it's too good.
That shit's so sick.
That shit's too good and everybody can use it, and we
And
want to
everybody has
ban it.
access to it, but
Yeah.
we're gonna ban it now. Yeah, everybody
it's
can buy
too
one.
good.
Everybody can get one from Maxxis or Pirelli or Dunlop, but ban that. Like, dude, get out of here. That's bullshit.
You know what?
the thing is like, sorry to cut you, Tyler.
No,
no,
go.
you're good.
Hell yeah, this is what
Everybody
we love.
to be like, the fact that like this has become such a talking point, and it was interesting for a while, and then like it became commonplace, and then now everybody's up in arms of like, can't believe we're still talking about paddle tires and this and this. It's like, hey bud, you actually got to hear about an actual strategy that could apply to you. Like, you always get bitchy about like, they didn't tell me how many clickers they change in their suspensions, because it doesn't fucking matter to you, dude. You don't even understand
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
But the paddle tire thing, completely universal. Every rider from a fucking 65 rider and up could understand, like, yo, paddle tire or not, da. And to see how that dynamic works, because they clearly have different pros and cons. And people are like, I don't want to hear about it anymore. It's like, dude, this is the only shit that you could actually benefit from,
yeah.
Yes.
that you have access to. And you're going to just completely be like, I don't want to hear it.
There's nothing on Eli Tomac's bike, parts wise, that you could put on a consumer bike that would translate other than that fucking paddle tire.
And
Are
I'm
you-
pretty
yeah.
sure. I haven't been at the Dunlop type for a long time, so you guys are gonna have to fill me in. Is there a spec paddle tire?
Yes.
So,
Oh yeah, there's
so
like
the
3 of them.
so there's the factory riders paddle tire, and then there's the privateers paddle tire.
No, they kind of been doing it a little different. There's different sidewall compound and rubber paddles that you can choose from.
Gotcha.
So it's like,
You have a preference?
yes, because some of them are actually just using the stock.
Yeah, the
The
paddle
production
Yeah,
one.
yeah, the one
Some
you
of
can
them-
buy.
some of the
at your-
factory
at Sam
riders-
Benson Racing,
Yes, at
or
San-
I mean Pirelli. Sorry.
yes, but some of the paddle tires you can just the factory guys use the production one.
Mhm.
They prefer it.
Yes.
You know, it's like I've
But-
seen a lot like
So I'm gonna.
Hayden's running a
No, Eli's
production
been
front.
I think.
Eli was using a production AT82 off-road tire at one point, because
Yes.
that's the one that has the little bit of the indentation like the scoop,
Yes.
and like it's the hybrid of that.
I want you guys' take on this is because where it's definitely, I feel like it's too, I don't know, obvious, is I think we'll get more parity on starts if we take away the grates. Because,
Yeah.
and this is my theory, is because there's different dirts and different compounds, and then there's actually a technique on packing your gate and what you can do behind the gate, and there's more ways you can make a mistake or mess up than just going on the grate and launching off.
But with that being said, I do think it makes it a little more fair for the privateers. And this is my
I think
reason.
it's fair for everybody.
Yes, I think this is my reason.
We're 6
for-
rounds in, and Cody Schock is the first privateer that's gotten a whole shot
Yeah,
this
but
year.
just better starts in general. And I would love to see the average on that. But like, the only shitty part is like when the few nationals that I raced, when you went and got a rut those outside ruts and some of those ruts that those guys didn't pick sucked. And there was no shot. At least with the grate, you're coming off the grate and you got somewhat of a shot. Even though you really don't, because their bikes are mapped in so much horsepower. But
they're
still,
mapped and tuned to the platform they're on that's super consistent weekend to weekend. Like, we're going to Washougal next weekend. And like, one of the key things about Washougal is that you can set your whole shot device a little less to make sure you have more traction. If you went to your normal, starting device hook, it wouldn't work because you would just get too much wheel spin.
Yeah, but again, more leaning towards the factory guys, but whatever.
What do you mean factory guys? Not everybody changed their whole shot device height compared to what
privateers definitely aren't doing it.
I mean, the guy that rode Washougal all the time would.
Because they don't have the budget to just have like 6 different whole shot devices. Yeah, but we did Washougal every year. That was the only national we did.
I mean, it was still
shit was sick.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying it would. Okay. I think it would be better. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking of stuff that Jett wouldn't get a whole shot with.
Yeah,
the stuff that we've been talking about for an hour, like in so many different ways, and going even back to the Jorge thing on like what should Cowie do for this, and this, and then what things that we said on that, and then we got to KTM completely contradict certain feelings and all of that. But then the way that we've like broken down this element, there is a million different ways to go racing. Like if you really want to be a privateer and have 6 different whole shot device settings that you spend that much time doing, like you could do that. Or you could just be some crusty guy and be like, I have one setting and I'm just going to burn a clutch pack out and do as many starts as I can.
Yeah.
And either one's going to work, and then like to try to put everybody in one box of is this going to work or is this not, I think is where the mistake lies, because I would love to know where this philosophy of there's only one way to do it comes from, and why we still are so steadfast in thinking that for this, especially this form of racing where no one is the same. There's 2 brothers that are riding the same motorcycle that are not even the same. They're not like it's in, and to think everybody's got to do one program and think that that's going to be the way. It's just not. I was even looking this weekend, like, we're on the tire thing. The way the track was prepped, typical RedBud heavy, there's a lot of sand. It's great dirt up there. They've really done a great job over the years of making it the best soil that it can be. It's ripped a lot. It's always watered. But it's been dry here in the Midwest this summer. Like, it definitely has been. So it had a harder base. For as much as they could soak it, it gets that topsoil wet, but then it's still tricky down bottom. And the way the guys said that the track developed was the ruts were so long, you were stuck in a long, soft rut. You weren't just going to hop out of it. Just that's how that track is. So for all that stuff of what those guys got to do, there's still a jump like Larocco's Leap that's going to get like concrete. No matter how they prepped it first thing in the morning by Moto 2, it's going to be a concrete, slick, rock face jump to go up. How are you still surprised by it? How are you still surprised by that one down at the bottom of the hill is still going to get nice and shiny because the sun beats down on it all morning.
Yep.
Yeah.
What this stuff, even though it's a dirt bike track and it does change a little bit, what the place is going to do.
Yeah. I mean, especially with us as, US riders, we've been there multiple times. It's the same shit.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, the sun's still going to come, rise at the same spot, set at the same spot. The same jumps are going to get the same amount of sun. The prep guys are going to kind of prep it similar.
I feel like that. I just laugh at that shit because it's like, bro, do you really want the largest jump on the circuit to be soft and rutted up the face? No, you want that thing to be consistent across the board so you know how much speed you're going to get and know how much lift you're going to get off the face. Like, that's how they prep it.
Yeah.
They're not going to rip that thing and make it all fluffy and deep for the outdoor national. This is not going to happen. Jump faces should be the most consistent surface on the track. If it's concrete concrete slick, but you know what you're going to get.
Yes. Agreed.
We were talking about something a minute ago. You guys were talking about the KTM settings and all of that. And like one point I'll say, for Tom to go to some kind of new setting, I don't know what it was, But for Tom Vialle to make a change, if you've listened to any KTM interview over the last 4 years, they have been trying and trying and trying to get him off of this certain frame and this certain feel through multiple iterations of the factory bike.
Mhm.
And he still has always stayed on the same thing. They're like, that boy really, really likes what he likes, and we're going to stop trying to win him over to something else. But as a race team, you're always in like the endless pursuit of trying to find what is the next perfect thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you got to have those guys that are always kind of in the kitchen and in the lab wondering what that thing's going to be. And
Mhm.
I think that this goes for anybody else. Like, there's a lot of jobs that you do that are just repetition, repetition, repetition. You know how to do it. And like, I've thought this analogy before. I'm sure it's stupid, but like your pilot that's flying the plane every week, like Adam, you take the same flight to Orlando or no, to Tampa
Yep.
this week, like
Yep.
over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the pilots that are on that know to the exact like mile per hour and degree of like how to land that plane.
Yep.
But just to spice it up, just to see how good you really are, what if you wanted to go a little faster or a little slower sometimes? You don't think there's a pilot that's like, yo, I got to add some spice back into this shit. This is not fun. It's just like, put it back down. Or we're thinking about how you're going to do it a little bit differently. Like, there is that element for these guys that have to wonder, like, well, is there another setting out there that's better? Is there something
Yes.
else? Like, that pursuit you have to have too. Otherwise, you just get complacent. You just get
Yeah,
fucking
that's
12th.
yes, but what me and Addie were kind of saying in the middle of the podcast is like, you know, their job is to find something new and better and always chasing like more, right? Because that until you're winning and dominating, you need to be searching.
Yes.
But you also got to be smart enough as a factory team to go back to something that you know feels right or like your base setting. And that's what kind of got lost in translation between me and Addie is like, where was just checking back in once a month and just making sure that setting is we're on the right track or we're not on the right track.
Yeah. Where's the check-in?
Yeah.
So I think that that opens up another interesting thing. And maybe this is a bigger topic for further down the road, because we've had this conversation quite often when it comes up to, you know, if a rider's not doing something that the team or the brand around them is pumped on, but as long as they keep winning, everything's good. What is the power balance between a team and a rider? How much, and it's individual, you know, situations everywhere you go. Every team treats every rider differently. Every rider has different respect levels from the team, whatever. But how much does the team let a rider have full reign before they have to pull them back in without hurting their feelings? And I think that that's another interesting dynamic all the way through the pits that always has to be discussed, because every guy gets treated differently.
Yeah. Well, I think you nailed one of the hardest things in the sport, you know, because Ken Roczen, he needs full reign or he will hate everything about the bike. If you make Ken Roczen do anything that he doesn't want to do, he won't ride it as fast as he can because he just mentally does not like it.
Yeah, but that's also comes with experience and know what he wants and knows what
but he's
looking for.
Also a guy that knows what he wants and is good at knowing what he likes and can go fast on.
And when he gets it, he will win.
Yes, exactly. And he will make himself win.
Yes.
That's the thing. Where you put restrictions on Kenny and he just hates it, has a bad attitude, I'm over it.
Yeah.
Where Joe Shimoda, he's the opposite. He wants, dude, this A setting, this shit works, bro. Run this. And he's said that before.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the hardest thing about
that actually reminds me that it was an ECU setting that made the world of difference supposedly for Joe Shimoda.
Yes. They tested ECU settings for the start. I heard that.
So,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's what makes our sport so fun, and working with different riders and seeing how they develop so cool is because everybody is so different. Every bike is so different. Every setting is so different. Every riding style is different. It's just different. And
yeah,
that's
there's
why
not
we love
one
it.
master key to winning a moto.
Or there isn't one master key to a bike either.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you if Chase Sexton and Jett Lawrence swapped bikes, they couldn't ride each other's bikes. It'd be insane. All right. Well, that's it. Anything else, boys?
Oh, that'd be it.
Cool. Well, we appreciate you guys listening. It's been awesome. Make sure you like, subscribe, tell your grandma, tell your mom, tell your grandpa, tell your friends, tell everybody.
And thank you for all of our current viewers watching our show. You guys are the real ones.
Yes, you guys are awesome. You've been awesome. Thanks for all the good comments. Thanks for all the bad comments. We love it either way. We're track talkers. We like talking smack. And we like being involved in dirt bikes, and that's why we do this thing, right, Ty?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Excited to see what happens at Melville. And till next time, peace.